Everyone's JackelWolf back in Sky Factory 3 with another 5 minutes. That's how I did it. This episode, we are going to upgrade our power in Sky Factory. I've got a couple of things coming up that are going to require more than your just standard power. So I thought it was about time we built ourselves a reactor. Now reactors are it's a fairly large build. So this is probably going to be a two-parter. This episode, we are going to focus on building the actual reactor parts and pieces. Next episode, we are going to work on coolant and actual fuel for the reactor. Now, to build this, you are going to need an absolute ton of something called a graphite bar. Now, to get graphite, you basically take coal or charcoal, cook it in a furnace. You can also get it from the alloy smelter. So we're going to take that graphite bar. There's actually probably a chicken that does that as well. To build the frame of the reactor, we are going to need something called a reactor casing. To get a reactor casing, we are going to need first off, a reactor casing core. That is going to be 4 iron ingots, 2 gold, 2 graphite, and a redstone. Now we're going to take that, we're going to plop it in the middle here. That is going to get us our reactor casing. That is going to be 4 iron ingots, 4 graphite bars, and 1 reactor casing core. Now for each one of these, you're going to get 4 reactor casings. So it is a pretty good return, considering how much resources it does take. Now one other thing we are going to use in our reactor is something called reactor glass. Now this is not a necessity, but it allows you to see inside of your reactor. More I want to say decorative, but rather than functional. But to get reactor glass, you're going to need a reactor casing and 2 glass blocks. Now we're also going to need some control items. First off is going to be a reactor controller. Didn't mean to throw that in there. The reactor controller is 4 reactor casings, 1 diamond, 1 redstone, and 2 yellorium ingots. Now you can get yellorium by sifting, I believe it's sand. Will get you yellorium dust, and then you can either smelt that or put it in the furnace. Will get you your yellorium ingots. There's also yellorium chicken, which is another way to get fuel for your reactor. We're also going to need reactor access ports. Now this gets our fuel in. I've got one pre-built, so I actually want 2 for my reactor. 1 to get fuel in, 1 to get fuel out. To make these reactor access ports, you're going to need 4 reactor casings, a piston, and a chest. Now we are also going to need reactor fuel rods. Now, depending on the size of your reactor, you're going to need more or less of these. Each one of these blocks is 6 iron ingots, 2 graphite bars, and 1 of those yellorium ingots. For every column of reactor fuel rods, you are going to need a reactor control rod. This sits at the top of your reactor. Now these are 4 reactor casings, 3 graphite bars, a yellorium ingot, and a piece of redstone. As well, we're going to need to get a way to get the power out of our reactor. To do that, we are going to need a reactor redstone flex power tap, which is 4 reactor casings and 4 pieces of redstone. Now, I've left an opening here in my reactor, but we're going to start off by placing that controller, and I'm going to place the flex port here on this side. That is because I'm eventually going to want to connect it with something that I'm going to be building in here in the future. So I'm just going to put it on this side. But you can put this anywhere within that in my case, that 3x3 area. These corners all have to be those reactor casings, and then I'm using the glass in the middle, but these could be reactor casings as well if you didn't care to see what was going on inside. Now I've already placed 4 of my reactor fuel rods, so I'm going to place the 5th. Now this is all going to depend on the size and style that you use for your reactor. Now, as I said before, these reactor control rods, they go on top of all your reactor fuel rods. Now I'm going to leave this space open for now. This is where we're going to put our cooling agents, which is going to come up in the future. There's my 5-minute timer. So I am going to go a little bit over on this one. Now I've also built those 2 reactor access ports. One's going to go here, one's going to go there. This side is the one that I'm going to want for my inlet. This one here I'm going to want for my outlet, so I'm going to change that outlet mode there, and you'll see on the outside it is changed to blue to show that this is where I've got items coming out. So that is building the reactor. Oh, I guess I should go like that. You know, like I said, this is going to be a 2-parter. Next episode, we are going to focus on coolant and on fuel for the reactor. So that has been it for me for this one, guys. This is my 5 minutes. That's how I did it, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.